Welcome to Focal Point News, your source for campus news, breaking headlines, and in-depth stories that matter. Coming up on Focal Point.
Find out how this neighborhood project is turning soil into supper.
And I'm talking to students about these dreaded parking tickets and what the university has to say about it.
President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs are causing changes for businesses big and small across the country. Find out how they're impacting our local businesses here in Lansing, coming up on Focal Point.
Good evening and welcome into our final episode of Focal Point News of the year. I'm Ethan Hunter.
And I'm Jaden Hawkins. Ethan, we definitely have a lot to cover today, and let's start with breaking news right here on campus.
Yeah, that's right, Jaden. Yesterday at 4 p.m., the Huria Coalition gathered in protest at the Hannah Administration Building, starting on the front steps and moving inside. The group was there to demand the university divest from entities they say are profiting off of the genocide in Gaza, as well as protection for international students being targeted by the Trump administration. MSU police issued multiple dispersal orders starting at 7:45. After the group refused to leave the building, arrests began. 19 people were arrested, 17 of them students. They were all charged with misdemeanors and then released. Some are planning to fight the charges in court, and we had a Focal Point crew at the scene who spoke to students that took part in the protest.
I need to meet with Kevin and the board for a long time, and they do not want to have a meeting with us in good faith. They have lied that they were going to show up at meetings with us and then did not show up. They have sat down in meetings with them where they refused to let some people that wanted to be there. They would refuse to make the meetings public. They would only agree to have the meetings behind closed doors. And our movement is not made up of 10 people. You know, our movement is made up of hundreds of people, of thousands of people. And these are all people that deserve to have their voices heard. And
the board, if the president lacks a soul or a heart, that might be harsh, but it's true. Otherwise, they would have other reactions. Because if we have families and people who have family in Gaza coming to the board meetings, talking and explaining the horrors they've experienced, and they just say, we're listening, that's not going to slide. So that's why we keep showing up and why we're not going to stop.
The same coalition took their demands to the state capitol today, and we will have more on this developing story in just a few minutes. Now, just down the road at Wells Hall, we have another event that has sparked up debate around campus. Focal Point's Rachel Fulton brings us an exclusive look. Rachel?
Charlie Kirk is just stepping on campus as I speak right now. And, it's not just like your typical protest or press release in any way. There's no stage here. It's just a chair for him, a microphone that he can talk to people, and another microphone for any audience member who may want to come out and have a conversation with Charlie, if that's, opposing to him with what he's been talking about, or just a normal conversation with what, agreeing with what he's been talking about as well. It's a beautiful day out here at the courtyard at Wells Hall on Michigan State's campus. It is beautiful, lower 50s, sunny, not a cloud in sight, which is just bringing out the community so much. They're flying hats out at me right now, probably which says "Make America Great Again," as it's a big thing for Turning Point USA. People are falling into bushes as I'm speaking as well, which is just, it just shows you how much energy is being shown here at the courtyard. So, like I said, beautiful weather, and it's not just East Lansing residents or students out here. I've been here all morning and afternoon as they've been setting up, getting ready for this big event with Charlie Kirk. And, it's been people coming from all different states, even Cleveland, Ohio. It's really about what it's doing for the Michigan State campus and the student perspective here. I was able to see what it's been doing all morning. Let's take a look at that right now.
Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, hey, hey, 1, 2, 1, 2.
It's an afternoon of sharp opinions, loud conversations, and a whole lot of student passion right here at Michigan State University. Charlie Kirk, the social media influencer Republicans love, making a stop in East Lansing as part of his national tour. Even people like Jacqueline from Cleveland, Ohio, made it a goal to be here on this day.
We've been up since 5 a.m. and took the roads. Here we are.
The crowd ready to hear a variety of topics.
Well, I think like a big topic is like abortion and like women's rights. I think that's very controversial.
And others uncertain.
I really don't know what to expect from this.
For some, Kirk is a breath of fresh air, a pushback against what they call a one-sided academic culture.
He's all about free speech and wanting to get different ideas and different perspectives just brought to light. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle, just as long as we're having open discussion about the things.
But not everyone came to listen. Some came to push back.
Do you think Hitler was objectively evil? No, because it's subjective.
I think that he is a reactionary person, if I am being honest. I think that there are ways that you can come onto a campus, get your point across, do the right things, but I think that in certain ways, Charlie Kirk, his personality can be a lot more performative than protective.
The event sparked a way for people to express their differing thoughts and opinions. For some, like Roger Glassingame, it was nerve-wracking to stand up and actually talk to Charlie, but he felt his words had to be shared.
Where they're given opportunity, if I feel strongly about something, I'm going to take every opportunity that I can to preach about it, to proclaim it to people. Because if I feel so strongly about what I believe, I'm not going to keep that to myself and stay afar from those whose minds I'm trying to change and hearts I'm trying to change.
In East Lansing, Rachel Fulton, Focal Point News.
As we can see, yeah, it's just been a diverse mix of voices here at the courtyard in Wells Hall. And just a little bit of a background of Turning Point USA. MSU has a club here on campus, but then there's the bigger organization overall. It is a 501c organization, so you know, they make a difference here in our country when it comes to things like this, bringing Charlie Kirk to a campus to express ideas and opinions of the students here on campus. It was founded by Charlie Kirk when he was only 19 years old, and has a presence now of about 3,500 college campuses and high schools throughout the country, which makes it the largest and fastest growing youth organization in the country now, which just shows all the people who have come out today. It's going to be a talk, you know, going forward throughout the weekend for the student body here for sure at Michigan State. Ethan and Jaden, back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Looks like it was a pretty large and excited crowd at Wells.
Yeah, absolutely it was. We've had a lot of news recently impacting our students, especially those who are far from home. Earlier this week, international students got a letter saying some of their visas could be revoked. 22 students at the University of Michigan have already been told to leave the country, and the number here at MSU has not yet been released. I set out to get answers both from the university and students. College campuses have always been looked at as safe havens, islands in the middle of cities where students feel safe. That has changed in the last few weeks. The U.S. federal government is starting to revoke international student visas across the U.S. It always was considered a legal way to live and study in this country. Now students who have done nothing wrong fear being deported.
I wouldn't say mad necessarily, but I'm just scared and nervous what if that happens.
This Michigan State student is from the United Arab Emirates. We're not showing her face for her protection. She tells me they talk a lot about deportation.
Seems unfair to me because they did go through the whole process. They haven't done anything wrong.
Inside Higher Ed reported that over 600 college student visas have already been revoked around the country, which does not mean an automatic deportation. Now, I asked the MSU Police Department whether or not they would cooperate with ICE and allow them on campus, and they sent this statement, which states that they will not independently or in assisting other law enforcement agencies detain a person based solely on their immigration status. They will not detain an individual solely based on an administrative immigration detainer request without a valid judicial warrant.
Right here.
Yeah.
This is our new case.
David and Veronica Thronson head the Immigration Law Clinic at MSU.
When they got notice that their visa was revoked, they have self-deported. That's a major goal of the administration, is to say how many people can we not have any proceedings for.
They've both been Michigan State professors for 15 years, but have never seen visas challenged like this.
Not someone who is here who's complying with all the requirements and who all of a sudden may get an email at midnight telling him that his visa is being revoked and he needs to leave the country immediately.
There are ways to challenge that notice through the courts, which is already being done across the country. Still, some have left out of fear.
Certainly, part of what the administration wants is to sow some chaos and some fear, and they would love to see people give up and go away. And some people will.
All international students can do now is wait and hope they're doing the right thing.
What he's focusing on is someone who's speaking wrong about the system.
So you think that if you don't speak out against Donald Trump, he's not going to revoke your visa?
In a way, yes. Or speaking anything wrong about him or the country or the system.
President Kevin Guskowitz sent a letter to MSU students and staff on Wednesday saying that he supports the international community and the Office of International Students and Scholars is monitoring the situation and has resources for students who need help.
In other news this week, President Donald Trump announced on Wednesday he would pause reciprocal tariffs on imports coming to the U.S. But that does not include the 25% tariffs on cars and car parts. Focal Point's Karina Prieto visited a local auto shop to see how these changes are shaking things up.
You could say Jerry Carpenter grew up with a hood over his head.
My dad actually bought the business back in 1972, so I'm kind of second generation.
They've spent the last 30 years here in downtown Lansing.
That was kind of one of our goals, to stay downtown Lansing and serve the downtown community.
In his time fixing flats, changing oil, and switching tires, Carpenter has seen everything.
It's always changing.
But recent government trade policy changes have brought on a new level of uncertainty.
Is we want to make sure we're taking care of customers' cars with parts that we feel we can stand behind. Are we going to be a little limited to where we can get our parts?
About 80% of the parts coming into Liskey's auto and truck service come from other countries that can make them for much cheaper.
I can't really price a job today and guarantee it's going to be the same a month from now, because it's like buying a tank of gas. What's it going to be tomorrow versus what it is today, we don't know.
Carpenter tells me tariffs could affect the prices of nearly everything in his shop. Just recently, a supplier called to warn him to get ready for tariffs on tires.
They're predicting some shortages, 20 to 30% increase on tires.
And the tariffs won't just affect prices. Carpenter predicts a change in availability, too.
They're saying a lot of these will probably sit in shipping containers at the ports, so they can monitor the tariffs, ship when they can, hold when they can't.
With all this back and forth, Carpenter hopes there's a sense of security and consistency in the near future.
It ain't only General Motors, Ford, Chrysler. It's us, little independent repair shops, because we're seeing them prices jump as well.
In Lansing, Karina Prieto, Focal Point News.
Carpenter says because of these industry changes, he's relying on the fact that more people are repairing old cars instead of buying new ones. The trade war continues as China fired back with 125% tariffs on U.S. goods just this morning.
Yeah, Jaden, tariffs are taking a toll on all of our wallets, much like environmental threats are costing some animals their natural habitats. Focal Point's Micaiah Lawrence joins us from the Red Cedar River to give us a glance into conservation efforts being made in our community. Micaiah?
Thanks, Jaden and Ethan. It's actually decently nice down here right now, even with the wind, because the sun did decide to come out. It even brought some people out to study and just enjoy the weather. And there were even some ducks here earlier, but we missed them, unfortunately. If you take a look, though, the Red Cedar is actually leveled down some with that rain that we had and all that flooding that it brought. And it's actually really interesting because just down the river, I got to hang out in a hidden gem over in Okemos. The Harris Nature Center is the only mid-Michigan nature center that's dedicated to the preservation of the Red Cedar River. Let's take a look.
Welcome to the Harris Nature Center.
It's tucked away on the banks of the Red Cedar.
How are you doing, weirdo?
And Katie Adams works to preserve it.
Our end goal at the Nature Center is to educate the public and just be a bigger part of making sure everything like this is here for future generations.
This is the Harris Nature Center.
It's the best office on earth. I don't think it gets any better.
Sitting right inside the Meridian Riverfront Park in Okemos.
This was an old house.
It's evolved into a space for learning.
We work with our resident wildlife, and there are ambassadors and also teachers here as well. So
all of these critters are Michigan natives.
We have one snake, We have a couple frogs, a salamander, and then we have 3 birds.
They found themselves a new home.
So all the animals that we have here at the Harris Nature Center are non-releasable for one reason or another.
Because the center wants wildlife to thrive naturally.
We can't teach about it if we're like not following what we teach.
Whether it's physical injury or being imprinted on humans, they're loved here for the rest of their lives.
I think a favorite of some people here is the crow, Onyx, and so he's like the first critter you see when you walk up to the door.
While the Nature Center has lots of opportunities for education and experience indoors, when you step outside, you'll find that there's even more opportunities to explore and learn.
Meridian Riverfront Park has about 6 miles of trails.
They're open year-round from dusk till dawn.
Just being in nature is so important for everybody's health in one way or another.
And the center offers an up-close experience. The Harris Nature Center is a great place to learn about preservation, conservation, and just enjoy this nice weather that we're hopefully going to get so soon. The actual building itself is open from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday, but those walking trails are open from dusk till dawn every day. And Katie actually told me that one of the best things about the Nature Center is getting to experience those things face to face. It's a great opportunity. But that's all I have for now. I'm gonna go check out and see what kind of critters I can find down here at the Red Cedar. Jaden and Ethan, back to you.
Yeah, that center looks really cool. Jaden, I know you're a big fan of turtles and snakes, right?
Yes, my house looks exactly like that. A conservatory, and I have a ball python and 2 tortoises. It's crazy.
That is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go to that place to find that because I don't have that kind of stuff going on in my room. But if you do have time to stop by the Nature Center on our next sunny day, it's looking like it might turn into that, but I think we're gonna get some information on that in a little bit. But Micaiah, we hope that you're staying warm out there on the banks of the Red Cedar.
Yeah, speaking of staying warm, Ethan, they say April showers bring May flowers. But after the weather this past week, I wouldn't mind seeing the sun. Let's send it over to Louise at the weather wall with more on what the greater Lansing area will look like for this upcoming week.
Jaden and Ethan, looking at the Cam Tower, you can see we're experiencing some spring weather. The sunshine is much needed. Let's look at our national map now. To nobody's surprise, the West Coast is seeing some warm weather. Los Angeles is at 84 and lovely Sacramento 79. Of course, Phoenix is a very hot one at 101 degrees. The South is feeling some pretty warm temperature with Dallas at 82, New Orleans at 80, and high temperature down the Sunshine States. The Upper East Coast is seeing very similar numbers across the board with high low in the 40s. As we move toward the Midwest and take a look at our regional map, spring might finally be on its way. I'm seeing similar numbers throughout the Midwest with with Kansas City being at 66 degrees. Putting focus on our home state of Michigan, Detroit is at 49 and Grand Rapids 51. Now looking at the 7-day outlook, we are seeing that temperatures are fairly consistent throughout the week. Today we're sitting at 48 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Saturday is a bit warmer with a high of 53 degrees and sunshine. Enjoy the sun while it lasts because Sunday we're getting some clouds. On the bright side, temperature will stay about the same. Monday is going to be a little nicer with temperature peaking at 61 degrees. If you're looking to get out and feel the warmth, I'll do it then. Temperatures are gonna drop back down in the 30s on Tuesday and a quick return to 50s on Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday will also have some showers so don't put the umbrella away yet. Jaden and Ethan, back to you.
Thanks so much, Louise. We have been waiting for a string of warmer days, and it looks like we finally might be able to put our winter coats in the closet for good.
Yeah, we're almost to golf weather. We're so close. I cannot wait. But we're going to be ditching those gray skies soon enough and getting out to the greens. For now, though, we need to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. Coming up, we'll have a look at how recent DEI changes are affecting students.
And hear about how green spaces across Lansing are giving back to the community. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Focal Point News.
Still ahead, do you ever wonder where your parking ticket money goes?
And updates on DEI policy changes and how students are being affected. Let's talk about something we know all too well about, parking tickets. Some students pay to park, but others, they take the risk. Regardless, the university makes a huge profit just from giving out parking tickets. Focal Point's Sabrina Selden talked with someone in university public safety who outlines exactly how much profit they make and what they do with all the money.
Students commute to campus every day, on the bus, walking, or a popular choice, by car. But when you drive, you have to park.
I commute to campus. I live like 15, 20 minutes away, so I don't really have a choice either way.
Then when you park, you have to pay. And if you don't,
a little white piece of paper like this can change the trajectory of a student's whole day.
I want to say probably like 4 to 5 this year, totaling like $100 probably.
You can get a ticket by not having the right permit or not paying at the machine or on the app. For students like Emma George Griffin, she has no choice.
I work here like 8 hours a day. That's like $20 just to park here, sometimes even more. So that means that like I'm paying like $40 to $50 a week just to go to work. And I don't get paid that much.
In total, there are over 32,000 parking spaces on campus. And just last year, 85,000 tickets were issued.
The parking system here at MSU generated $2.1 million in 2024.
And every student wants to know, where does all that money go? Communications manager of MSU Police, Nadia Vizueta, tells me the funds keep the parking system running.
That includes maintenance of the various lots and the ramps, snow removal, as well as any loans or bonds for the building of new ramps.
And she says half of the funds go towards CATA buses.
I feel like if more people knew that the funding went towards CATA bus, like that would be kind of change people's minds a little bit.
But whether students decide to pay or not, parking enforcement isn't going anywhere. So Vizueta encourages students to pay and follow protocol. On campus, I'm Sabrina Selden, Focal Point News.
So the moral of the story is they don't want to issue so many parking tickets, but when students don't follow protocol, they have no choice. MSU Police told Sabrina the best practice is just pay to park.
Speaking of being on your best behavior, if you throw an apple core into the ground, don't feel bad about littering. The apple will decompose and turn into dirt. Focal Point's Roshan Neighbors shows what it's like to work in that dirt and be on the soil.
Right over the bridge and past the forest, the MSU Surplus store is gearing up today as they are expecting a heavy flow of traffic during their Friday sale days.
So this is the service counter, this is the IT department, and then in the back we also have like people that list books. I do the lab equipment.
From recycling to crafting and plastic, the Surplus store is economy friendly.
Working at the surplus store, it's definitely a unique job, which is why I love it so much. You're doing something a little bit different every single day.
The compost is very dark in color, indicating that it has a high amount of organic matter within the compost. The ideal thing that you want for compost.
Just right in time for spring,
As much material as possible.
vermicompost will keep your garden healthy.
Mobile Gardens has been one of our best supporters since we've had this project here in 2020.
The red wiggleworms are amazing composters, and they can live in proximity with each other. They reproduce quickly, and they can endure the Michigan weather. In East Lansing, I'm Roshan Neighbors, Focal Point News.
Yeah, thanks, Roshan. The recycling center makes about $300,000 off of recycled materials every year, so not only is it a cool place, but it also makes the university some money.
Now, recycling is not a new idea, but there are new ways to do it, similar to neighborhood gardens. You can find them all over Lansing growing fresh produce right in your backyard. I spoke to farmers at a new garden project called Urbandale Farms. They're growing not only plants, but also a new era of farmers.
So this is going to have about 5 fish in it, but right now it actually houses some strawberry and watermelon.
And Jerry Cooper's agriculture journey started with a few seeds from the dollar store.
I am an apartment gardener on my balcony.
After a successful crop, she gained a new title, farmer. From a raised bed on her balcony to now 2 acres of land at Urbandale Farms.
My grandma was a sharecropper in the early 1900s, and my great-grandma too. So it kind of feels instinctual to be out here planting things, but even though I have the timing wrong, it's just one of those things that you just keep seasoning until the ancestors whisper stop.
It's all about learning, and that's exactly what Jerry Norris envisioned when he bought the land, creating a space that brought more people into farming.
Less than 1% of the farmers are black, and we would really like to focus on black farmers and food sovereignty within the black community, because without sovereignty, you don't really have a lot of power over your land, where you're going to live, what food you're going to eat.
The goal of this land is to represent the people that they serve. With a community as diverse as Lansing, they plan to have plots like this one that represent different cultures.
I just want to grow some stuff. I just want to see things that I can actually eat and know that it's not sprayed with harmful pesticides. For me, it's about health.
It's going to be fun, and it's going to be serious, and it's going to be heartbreaking, and it's going to be exciting, all the great things. But we're only a few months old, so we don't know what's going to happen.
It will be fun, serious, and heartbreaking once the weather warms up. In Lansing, Jaden Hawkins, Focal Point News. Anyone can join the Urbandale Farms team and help the garden grow. They're always looking for more people and resources. And if you're looking to support, on Saturday, May 31st, the Fledge will be hosting a fundraiser at the farm on 705 South Hayford Avenue in Lansing from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m.
That's going to be a really good event, Jaden. But now we're going to head back to the MSU campus, where we have an update on a developing story regarding the arrests at the Hanna Administration Building. And we're able to speak with more members from the coalition. We'll send it over to the newsroom, where Focal Point's Derek Mitchell has a special report. Derek?
Gather more information on what exactly took place. At 4 p.m., the protesters gather outside to speak out about immigration and protection of international students. At 5:15 p.m., a group of 10 people went inside for an administration meeting with President Gushkowitz, a member of the Board of Trustees as well, and other high-ranking officials. The coalition members laid out their demands and informed the administration that they will be occupying the building and the agreements as well. They laid out their demands and informed the administration that they will be occupying the building and the agreement of their demands. At 7:45, the first dispersal order came from the MSU police. At 8 p.m., after a second dispersal order, the arrest began. 17 students and 2 community members were taken into a separate area of the building, and they were trespassed and charged with a misdemeanor and trespassing. 2.5 hours later, all arrestees were charged and released. One member, David Hogan, is the coalition media contact and served in a support role, speaking with cops and providing legal support in tandem with the National Lawyer Guild. He was one of the 10 that was met with the board last night. We were able to talk with Hogan about everything that has happened in the last 24 hours.
It was difficult to watch people get arrested, especially because I know they're risking a lot to fight for something that we all believe in and that we believe the university can do better. But it was also very kind of inspiring to see that there are 17 of my peers and community members willing to make these risks for something that we're all fighting in. The takeaway is that this university, this board, this president prioritizes profits over people. What's clear at this point is that we can't let up, but we understand that these are necessary actions we have to take in order to provide protections that our university and our federal government will not provide us.
20+ student organizations. Today, they continue their fight as they took their demands to the Capitol building for a protest this afternoon. The coalition joined pro-Palestinian groups from all over the state as multiple people spoke to the group and delivered speeches throughout the protest. Ethan and Jaden, the story is still ongoing as the group will not let their demands go unheard. That's all the information we have here for now. Back to you guys in the studio.
Yeah, thanks for the update, Derek. Coming up after the break, we will look at MSU athletics over the past week.
And hear about a familiar furry icon that's turning talent into treasure and cashing in big.
All that and more still ahead on Focal Point News.
News.
Coming up, we will celebrate independently owned record stores and shine light on the more important parts of prom night.
But first, we have seen opening days and championships runs this week, so let's send it over to Janiyah Clowers in the newsroom with a sports update. Janiyah?
Week. First, the Michigan State gymnastics team traveled to Penn State to compete in the NCAA regional second round. The Spartans performed strong on the floor and in the air, their final score standing at 197.625, finishing first overall with help from senior Gabrielle Stevens, scoring on a perfect 10 on vault, 9.950 on bars, and a career high of 39.750 in the all-around. The Spartans extended their stay and competed in the regional final, placing second overall with a score of 198.00. Head coach Mike Rowe said positive thinking is what set the tone for his team this year.
This was one of the steps we were missing from past years, coming in the first one in the Sweet 16, so we're primed and ready to go, and all the little things we've got to fix to score even higher. So we're pumped. It was a great warm-up day for us, and glad, Gabby's 10, that was very exciting, and we just still know there's a lot of things we can fix, so very excited, very proud of them.
Residents bundled up in support of their team to represent their city on opening day. The Lugnuts faced off against the Great Lake Loons on Tuesday, losing 5-10. They will face off again this evening at Jackson Field. That's all from the sports desk this week. There is definitely lots of action as baseball season is in full swing all over the nation. Now sending back to Ethan and Jaden at the desk.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how the gymnastics team does coming up here in the semifinals for the national meet. Never made it there, so that's really exciting. But for the past years, a couple years now, transfer portal and NIL have been circulating in the sports world. One Spartan superstar with 4 paws and a lot of tricks may have his own deal now. Zeke the Wonder Dog started off as a Spartan legend, but is now a brand. He's the first dog in college football to get an NIL deal, and Focal Point's Campbell Berg talked with Zeke's trainer about how this money helps to brighten students' game days.
MSU Athletics thanks all those who took part in the...
A Michigan State University legend. Zeke the Wonder Dog.
He's a Michigan State dog.
You can see him running around fields and courts on game days, doing what he does best, catching frisbees.
Events like what we're doing today for the students and coming up, a lot of times there's no money, and I can't say no.
It's more than just him showing off his frisbee catching skills. 1, 2, 3. It's about the connections he's made along the way.
And the real reason for Zeke is to be a good Wool ambassador and for Zeke to be here for the students.
Which is what Jim Foley and Mark Hollis set out in the beginning of their journey. Zeke and his trainers, Jim and Terry, couldn't do it alone. He is the first dog in college history to receive a NIL deal.
Oh, the MSU FCU NIL deal has been very helpful.
Though the money helps Zeke and friends get where they need to be, Jim is after one important thing.
Done so much to promote Zeke and bring him back. And so his legacy is what I'm after.
The legacy that all started with Ezekiel performing tricks at MSU. In 2007, Foley picked up the role of the Wonder Dog with his first Frisbee dog, Dexter, transforming his trick pup into Zeke, too. Jim doesn't intend on letting the tradition leave Spartan Stadium anytime soon.
I wouldn't take those days back for nothing.
On Michigan State's campus, Campbell Berg, Focal Point News.
Foley also said that the best gift he has ever received with Zeke was being part of the Spartan family, and also hearing some students say that seeing Zeke on the field is the highlight of their football season. It's going to be exciting to see what tricks he pulls out with that new bag in his pocket.
Zeke loves to perform for Spartan audiences, but there's also one student who's getting ready to represent on a national stage. She's a finalist in the Miss Earth USA pageant, but as Focal Point's Claire Baccarella shows us, her story goes beyond the sash and the spotlight.
MSU junior Maddie Nero walks to class in Uggs, but she practices for the stage in these.
I'm a Miss Earth USA Top 12 national finalist.
Just like Miss America or Miss USA, it's a beauty pageant. But it's more than that. The Miss Earth USA organization says they value more than beauty. They're beauties for a cause. She'll be featured on the pageant's reality show, Pretty Down to Earth, and she wants to show viewers she's exactly that.
The 12 of us girls will do such a good job at breaking down barriers and showing that pageant girls are so much more than what meets the eye.
Her goal is not just to win Miss Earth USA, but to help the Earth too. She founded Metamorphosis with Madison, her environmental platform, to build an eco-conscious future.
It's just been great to see my work going beyond the stage and how much impact I can have in my small little community and beyond.
But her journey to the stage hasn't been without its challenges. Just ask her mom.
Madison, who really doesn't speak about it, has juvenile idiopathic arthritis with antithesis from the age of 12. She was very insecure growing up in a unhealthy household.
Crown or not, Maddie hopes to leave a lasting mark on the world and the people in it.
And I want to show people that when you lead with love in your actions and you think about what you're voting for, you can make a lasting change on this earth.
In East Lansing, Focal Point News, Claire Baccarella.
Thanks, Claire. Maddie leaves next month for the filming of Pretty Down to Earth, and the new Miss Earth USA will be crowned in July. Best of luck to our Spartan Maddie.
Pageant of sorts is on the minds of many as we enter prom season and prom goers choose a gown for the special night. Focal Point's Janiyah Clowers shows us how one local shop is helping high schoolers with prom.
Time of year again.
Probably like sleek, simple slits, some sparkle.
2025 prom season is here. Local shop Fantastic Finds is helping the community with all things prom.
We start by helping them through the store.
Finding the perfect dress is a process.
We ask them, how do you want to look?
There are a variety of options for students to choose from.
We start getting a feel for what they're liking and disliking. We'll help them rule out things and bring in new options that they wouldn't have even thought about to try on.
Here at Fantastic Finds, it's not about finding just the perfect dress. It's about feeling unique. And when you walk out the door, feeling one of a kind.
Everything's a little bit different. Most of them are one of a kind, and we also do a system where girls aren't allowed to buy the same dress at the same school from us.
The dresses are affordable as well.
We do cater to, probably more between 200 and 400, somewhere in there. So we try to keep it middle of the road.
When walking out the door, the memories made aren't just for today.
It's easy to be a girl's girl back there and just be loving on each other and creating those memories.
They are forever.
We'll see brides come in and our manager will say, I recognize you, and we had her for prom 10, 15 years ago.
Prom season is a joyful time that people share.
It's just full of positivity, and other people are looking at all the other girls and complimenting them. It's a really positive, fun environment.
In Lansing, Janiyah Clowers, Focal Point News.
Thanks, Janiyah. We all know how important it is for students to feel confident on their special night.
In other small shop news, One in East Lansing has been bringing the community together for decades. Through a shared love of music, Focal Point's Allie Cohen shows us what makes flat, black, and circular so loved by customers.
Every day, John Howard's workday starts with this. And maybe some of this. And some of this too. It's enough to make your head spin, but it's been his job since he was a student at Michigan State University.
Full-time since about 1991.
On October 1st, Howard bought the shop, every inch filled with vinyl records.
It's the best spot in town.
A large part of FBC's charm are the connections that are only possible at a locally owned business.
Part of what we like to do here is carry every kind of genre.
I like old R&B, rap music, country.
Did you hear this? Or you're buying this, you might like that. And you're not going to get that in chain stores.
This staff is so familiar with their regular customers that they even order and pull records for them, like Lansing local Corey Trevor.
Couldn't have a better selection anywhere.
It's lots of happy, smiling faces, people buying loads of stuff.
Flat Black and Circular has been part of the East Lansing community for decades. But on Saturday, it'll be packed full of people of all ages here for one event, National Record Store Day.
It's kind of basically our Christmas day. It's always our busiest day of the year.
Record Store Day is full of exclusive releases and limited edition finds.
MJ, Gunna, Wallows. Then for the kids, Bluey.
And is all about bringing the record community together.
It's kind of a social meeting hub. It's a place to discover new things. When we first started this, I had 4 or 5 bands every single time.
Vinyl records have made a big comeback. So popular that Flat Black and Circular most likely already has a line forming for tomorrow. In East Lansing, Allie Cohen, reporting Focal Point News.
Whether you're a die-hard collector or just visiting for the vibes, Flat Black and Circular Record Store continues to prove that vinyl and sense of community is still very much alive.
Yeah, it is. It sounds like an exciting day for record store regulars and people trying to get those special prints. But for now, that's all from us here at Focal Point.
As always, thank you so much for following along this year. Ethan, this is our last time at the front of Focal Point.
Yeah, it is. We hope to see you from different screens in the future, but for now, be sure to tune in to Focal Point this fall. I'm Ethan Hunter.
And I'm Jaden Hawkins. Have a wonderful night, Spartans.